The sound of boarding calls echoed through JFK Airport. A soft breeze brushed past as Alina Morgan stepped out of the international arrivals gate. Her hand gripped a cream-colored suitcase, lips pressed tightly together, eyes cold as they scanned the frantic crowd. It had been 5 years since she left New York, leaving behind everything: her family, the company, and the man she once loved. She'd built a completely different life in Paris, free-spirited, detached, and distant from memories. But today she had no choice but to return. "Just 1 week," she muttered under her breath, quickening her pace toward the exit. Just meet him and end this stupid arrangement. 5 years ago, her father, Arthur Morgan, forced her to sign a marriage contract to save Morgan Industries. The man she married, she never met him. No photo, no introduction, just a name. A meaningless name printed on a legal document. She had resisted, she had run, and she succeeded for a while. But now there was no more room to refuse. "What if he's not even around anymore?" she whispered, adjusting the hem of her long coat. "What if he forgot all about that ridiculous marriage?" Her phone buzzed. A message from her father: "We're waiting. The car is outside." Elena bit her lip, her face emotionless. Her heart no longer knew how to feel. She no longer believed in love. Only in duty, and secrets that were never spoken aloud. What she didn't know was that the man she was about to meet was the same one who once shattered her heart. And that man had never stopped waiting for her. The December air in New York bit through her coat. Alina clutched it tighter as she scanned the curb for the black car her father said would be waiting. A sleek black BMW pulled up beside her. Without hesitation, she opened the rear door, tossed her suitcase in, and slid into the seat. "You're late, Dad," she snapped, unzipping her coat. "If it weren't for this stupid promise, I'd be in Paris tonight at my own exhibit." The driver said nothing. He simply looked at her through the rearview mirror. Elena frowned. That face, it was disturbingly familiar. "Is something wrong?" she asked coldly. A quiet chuckle echoed from the front. "Still the same, cold and snappy, when forced to do things you don't want." Her heart froze. She whipped her head around toward the man speaking. "Liam." "Hello again, Elena." He smiled, the same smile that once made her heart flutter. "What are you doing here? Are you working for my father now? This is his car, right?" "Nope, it's mine. You just barged into my car, threw your suitcase in, and yelled at me." Her cheeks flushed instantly. "So, my father didn't send you?" "Oh, I'm sure he did. But you got in the wrong car." Liam leaned back comfortably, clearly enjoying the chaos. Elena reached for the door handle. Locked. "Did you just lock the doors?" "New York streets aren't exactly safe for a newly returned lady," Liam replied casually. In fact, he turned his head, eyes locked on hers, a smirk playing on his lips. "I think fate wanted us to reunite in the most chaotic way possible." She couldn't speak. 5 years hadn't erased those eyes. The man she once loved and left was now inches away from her. What she didn't know was that this mistaken ride was only the beginning of the storm to come. Just as Elena stepped away from Liam's BMW, the actual family car pulled up. She climbed in, her mind still spinning from the surreal encounter moments earlier. The driver remained silent, but seated beside her was Mr. Alfred, the longtime Morgan family butler. He glanced at her gently. "You seem shaken, Miss Elena." Elena sighed. "I almost got into the wrong car. I ran into someone I never thought I'd see again." Alfred gave a small nod, then said quietly, "Your father asked me to prepare you for news about your marriage." She furrowed her brows. "What marriage? That contract I signed 5 years ago, that was just a favor. I didn't even meet the man." "Then you truly don't know," Alfred exhaled. "Your legal husband is Mr. Liam Carter." Elena snapped her head toward him. "What? That's impossible. I just saw him. At the airport. He didn't say a word." "He was instructed not to reveal himself unless you truly returned," Alfred replied calmly. "Your father wanted you to have freedom for 5 years. After that, everything would be clear." Elena leaned back in her seat, eyes wide in disbelief. The black BMW cruised through the damp streets of the Upper East Side. Elena stayed silent the entire ride, her eyes fixed on the window, heart tangled in confusion. Liam Carter, the man she once loved so deeply, whom she left without a word, and worse, he was the man she had legally married. When the car finally stopped in front of the familiar mansion she once called home, her chest tightened. Everything was still the same. The white stone walls, the black iron gate, the rose garden her mother used to adore. But now, it all felt like distant memories. The door opened. The butler bowed. "Welcome back, Miss Elena. Your father is waiting in the lounge." Elena stepped inside, head held high, but when her eyes landed on the man seated comfortably on the sofa, wineglass in hand, her breath hitched. "Liam, welcome home," he said, eyes locked on hers. Her father, Arthur Morgan, approached and pulled her into a tight embrace. "My daughter, finally home." She nodded slightly, but her gaze never left Liam. "Dad, what is going on?" "I think it's time you met your legal husband," Arthur said, turning to Liam. "Liam is the man you signed a marriage contract with 5 years ago, Elena." No way." She stepped back as if the floor had collapsed beneath her. "I stayed silent for 5 years," Liam said gently, "because your father made me promise. If I ever tried to contact you, he'd cut you off completely. But I never stopped loving you." Elena couldn't speak. The air in the room grew thick. Secrets long buried had just exploded into her reality. A part of her wanted to run again, but another part needed to know. What had Liam been doing all this time? And why did he choose silence over chasing her? After a moment of shock, Elena was brought back to the mansion by Liam Carter, the place that would now be their home. She still couldn't accept the truth that the man who had been her husband on paper all these years was the very same man she once loved deeply. They said nothing to each other in the car. It was only when they arrived that Liam finally broke the silence. "Don't you want to know why everything happened this way? Will I even get an honest answer?" Elena replied, her voice laced with doubt. "I'm the only one who could have made all of this happen, right?" Liam said, his eyes locked on hers. Elena's voice turned sharp. "This is your revenge, isn't it, because I walked away from you back then?" "No, I'm not that kind of man. I did all of this because I still love you." Elena's chest tightened. Her eyes burned, but she refused to cry. "Don't say that like it's noble," she whispered. "You had 5 years to find someone else. And yet, I waited," he said. "Even when I hated you for leaving, I still waited." Her breath hitched. Part of her wanted to scream, but the rest just broke. The next morning, Elena woke up in a warm room inside Liam Carter's mansion. Everything still felt surreal. She quickly got dressed and stepped into the garden, hoping the fresh air might help clear her thoughts. But instead of finding silence, she stumbled upon Liam in the kitchen, wearing a pink apron and flipping pancakes in a frying pan. "Good morning, wifey," Liam greeted her with a bright smile. "Aren't you supposed to be at work?" "I took 2 weeks off just to be with you." Elena let out a bitter laugh. "Are you out of your mind?" "Well, crazy for you," he replied, playfully. Breakfast was served. Liam tended to her with such gentle care and attention that Elena couldn't help but soften. As she looked at him, memories slowly returned, reminding her of everything she had once loved about this man. His warmth, his sense of responsibility, and the way his eyes always looked at her like she was the only one that mattered. Before she could process anything, Elena found herself seated in a helicopter flying far away from the city. "What are you doing?" she asked, her voice tinged with unease. "Getting us some air," Liam replied, his eyes fixed on the horizon. "We need a place with no third parties, no contracts, just you and me." Elena wanted to protest, but stayed quiet. Maybe she, too, needed space to breathe, to understand herself and him. 3 hours later, they landed on a secluded private island off the coast of Florida. A beachfront villa, soft white sand, crystal clear waters. It was paradise built for two. The first day passed in silence. Elena sat on the porch with a book in her lap, though her eyes lingered on Liam as he waded in the shallows, catching crabs. That evening, he stepped into the kitchen. She was stunned to see Liam, the polished businessman, wearing a pink apron and holding a frying pan like a pro. "Where did you learn to cook?" she asked, raising a brow. "After you left," he said with a soft smile. "I learned hoping that one day I'd get to cook for you." Her heart faltered. No words came to her lips. They dined by candlelight. The air felt strangely warm. No one mentioned the past. There were only smiles and glances that had long forgotten how to meet. That night, Elena couldn't sleep. The sound of waves, the wind, and her own heartbeat all tangled in a mess. Stepping onto the porch, she saw Liam sitting alone on a wooden chair, glass of wine in hand. Under the moonlight, his eyes were heavy, distant. "Can't sleep?" he asked softly. "No," she said, sitting beside him. "There's too much I never told you." "I'm listening." A long pause passed before Elena finally spoke, voice tight and cracking. "I didn't leave because I didn't love you. I left because I loved you too much. I was forced into marriage. My father threatened to destroy everything if I didn't sign. I thought I wasn't good enough for you. I had nothing, no freedom, no worth, and I was terrified that staying would only hurt you more." Liam turned to her, his hand gently closing around hers. "And you thought I wanted someone more perfect than you?" he said with a sad smile. "Elena, I had everything except you, and these 5 years, they were hell." She began to cry, not just tears of regret, but of guilt, of longing, of everything she never said. "I was angry at you once," Liam whispered, "but I never stopped waiting." She looked at him, really looked, like she was seeing him again for the first time. Then slowly, wordlessly, she leaned in, not to forget, but to forgive. And when their lips met, for the first time in 5 years, it wasn't passion. It was healing. The kind of kiss that says, "We still have time," only yearning, and silent tears. Elena once ran from this love, but now she knew her heart had never really left Liam. After the emotionally charged getaway, Elena and Liam returned to New York. Everything seemed better. Elena was slowly growing used to Liam's presence in the kitchen, the living room, even in the quiet spaces of her dreams. They weren't rushing things. They were learning how to exist beside each other again. But peace was short-lived. One chilly morning, while Elena was watering the small garden behind the mansion, a red sports car pulled up at the gate. The woman who stepped out made her squint. Glossy brown hair, slender figure, and a face she couldn't mistake. "Sienna Blake," she muttered, throat dry. Sienna, Liam's childhood friend. The girl who appeared like a shadow in the old photographs Elena had once seen. The one Liam's mother had always hoped would become her daughter-in-law. Sienna wasted no time stirring the waters. "I just wanted to say hello to Elena," she said sweetly, stepping into the living room. "We're family now, aren't we?" Elena didn't reply. She simply watched the gleam in the woman's eyes, one she didn't trust. "I think," Sienna continued, gently spinning her teacup, "this is the right time to tell the truth." Liam came down the stairs, eyes darkening at the sight of her. "Sienna," he said calmly, "you shouldn't be here." "I'm pregnant, Liam," she interrupted, her voice sweet, but eyes hard. "And you're the father." The room didn't just freeze, it cracked. Elena stood, her chair scraping the floor like thunder. "Liam." Her voice wasn't loud, but it hit like a slap. "Tell me that's not true." "It's not," Liam said instantly. "I swear. Nothing happened." "Then why?" Elena's voice broke. "Why does she look so certain?" "No, that's not possible." Liam shook his head, eyes on Sienna like she was a stranger. We never. Really? Sienna chuckled softly, her eyes sharp as glass. Then tell me, who else could it be? It hit like a bullet. Elena took a half step back. She didn't know what to believe. And Liam, his eyes were clouded with frustration, confusion, and silence. Sienna stood, voice cool. Deny it all you want, Liam, but I've already sewn myself into your story, and I'm not going anywhere. The door slammed behind her. Elena turned away, chest tightening. She didn't know what hurt more, the betrayal, the doubt, or the feeling that her heart had just cracked a little deeper. 2 days passed after Sienna's announcement, and the mansion felt swallowed in a fog. Elena didn't ask. Liam didn't explain. A heavy silence stretched between them. Then a single phone call changed everything. Elena! Liam burst into the living room, pale-faced, phone glued to his ear. Sienna, she was attacked. What? Elena shot up, forgetting the storm of resentment inside her. Where? I don't know exactly, Liam panted. She called me, just enough to say a street name. Then the line dropped. Without thinking, they rushed out. The car's headlights sliced through the night as they tore across the city. They found Sienna sprawled on a cracked sidewalk in a run-down part of town, bruised, blood streaming from her temple, her blouse torn. Elena gasped, nearly choking on emotion. Call an ambulance, she screamed, while Liam lifted Sienna gently into the car. At the hospital, the doctor delivered the truth. Sienna had been assaulted by an ex-boyfriend, someone she'd kept hidden. She's not pregnant, the doctor added. No sign of it. She probably lied. Liam exhaled sharply. Elena said nothing. She didn't feel relief or revenge. Seeing Sienna like that, weak, battered, broken, she no longer saw an enemy. She saw someone at rock bottom. When she wakes, Elena told the nurse, tell her she can stay at our home for a while, until that man is caught. Liam turned to her, surprised. She needs help, Elena said softly. No one deserves to suffer because of a love gone wrong. That night, in the quiet of their room, Elena sat beside Liam, not to accuse, not to argue, but simply to be there. Thank you, Liam whispered. I thought you'd walk away. I did once, Liam, she sighed, and I know how terrible that felt. I don't want anyone else to feel it too. The days following Sienna's incident brought a calm silence over the mansion. No one brought up the past. No accusations, no blame. Just footsteps softer than usual, and glances that spoke more than words ever could. Sienna remained at the hospital, slowly recovering. Elena visited a few times, not out of duty, but out of humanity. Once the thorn in her side, Sienna was now just a broken woman trying to stand up again. One early morning, Elena sat in the kitchen, eyes lost in the garden. In front of her was a plate of green mangoes with fish sauce, something she had never touched before. What kind of nightmare are you eating? Chloe's voice cut through behind her, a mix of shock and mild disgust. Elena blinked. I can't explain, but it tastes amazing. Chloe sat down without a word. Her eyes quickly scanned her friend's pale face, slow movements and subtle changes that had been creeping in. How long has it been? She asked softly. What? Your last period, Elena. When? Chloe, hospital, now. At the hospital, everything moved faster than expected. After the blood work, the doctor entered the VIP room with a gentle smile. Congratulations, Miss Morgan. You're pregnant. About 6 weeks along. Elena froze. Her heart skipped a beat. Really? Before the doctor could confirm again, the door flew open. Liam burst in, sweating, his tie askew, one slipper on the wrong foot. Elena, he gasped. Chloe called, are you okay? She looked at him, eyes glassy. Liam, I'm pregnant. The room fell silent. Then Liam broke it with a laugh, not out of humor, but out of pure, stunned emotion. Oh God, we're having a baby. He wrapped his arms around her, holding her tightly. Elena clung to him, tears soaking his shoulder. There was life growing inside her, a new beginning. No more doubts, No more running, only love. And finally, a family complete. 5 years later, the Morgan mansion was now filled with the laughter of children. Tiny feet pattered through the halls, and cries of "Mommy, Daddy" echoed every morning. Elena held their youngest, a baby girl with Liam's eyes, while their two boys battled over a toy car on the lawn. Liam, in a flour-stained apron, carried out a tray of slightly burnt muffins. "Don't say a word," he warned, hands up in surrender, as Elena raised an eyebrow. "I was just going to ask. If the kitchen's still standing," she laughed. He placed the tray down, kissed their daughter's forehead, then wrapped his arms around Elena from behind. "I'd rather burn breakfast than miss mornings with you." Life was no longer filled with what-ifs, only thank God we stayed. Sienna had changed. She now lived in Brooklyn, raising her son alone, a child who didn't carry the Carter name and didn't need to. She visited often, bringing homemade pastries and a smile that no longer hid resentment. That afternoon, while Liam was at a meeting, Sienna stayed for tea on the porch. Two women who had once stood on opposite sides. "You know," Sienna began, gently swirling her cup, "I used to think you took everything from me." Elena smiled but said nothing. "But you didn't take anything, you just held on to what was always yours." Elena nodded. "And I think, you've finally found what's yours too." Sienna chuckled, perhaps for the first time in years. Light, real. She left at sunset, leaving Elena wrapped in unspoken reflections. When Liam came home, he found her leaning against the window, eyes distant. He stepped behind her, pulled her close. "You okay?" She turned, smiled. "I'm okay. We're okay. Everything's finally where it's meant to be."